There is nothing as uncertain as life. You can never really know what will happen next. One moment, everything might be going well or going according to plan, and the next, everything is wrong. This is also the case with accidents. One moment you might be driving on an empty highway, and the next, your car might be rolling down a hill. When some of these things happen, some people claim to have crossed over into the afterlife. For some, whatever they see in the afterlife might change their lives forever. This is exactly what happened to Jeff Olsen. Hello everyone, and welcome back to our channel. Today we will look at Jeff Olsen's story and his near-death experience that changed his life. But before we continue, make sure you leave a like and subscribe to our channel for more intriguing stories. And with that, let's find out what happened to Jeff Olsen. Accidents are pretty unavoidable. You cannot tell when it will happen, so you can't avoid it. However, it is during some of these accidents that we lose some of our loved ones. Sometimes you may even travel to the afterlife. More than 2 decades ago, there was a car accident that ended up taking the lives of half of Jeff Olsen's family. And in addition, this is also the accident that changed his life forever. When Jeff Olsen is asked about this accident, he will narrate it as though it happened yesterday. It was around Easter weekend in 1997 when Olsen, his wife, and 2 of their sons were going back home to Bountiful, Utah. When Olsen narrates what happened, he claims that he believes he briefly fell asleep at the wheel. However, he tried to correct his lane when his eyes blinked open, but he overdid it. What happened next was so traumatizing because it led to the loss of half his family. The car just rolled over, and the impact of the roll instantly killed his 31-year-old wife and 14-month-old son. Olsen was also severely injured, but his 7-year-old son survived. After this accident and what happened afterward, Olsen wrote a memoir in 2021, I Knew Their Hearts. During this accident, Olsen had his very first near-death experience. When asked about it, he said, I had a little peek into the other side. My wife, who I knew was deceased, was there with me, and we had a conversation with her saying, you have to go back. You can't be here. You have a little son in the back seat crying. If it hadn't been for his wife telling him to return, he would not have made it through the accident. This was the only thing that helped him survive, but it was a painful return to reality and recovery. He claims that he has no sense of time at the moment. He then goes on to say, it could have been 2 hours or 2 minutes. It was like a download of information that was personal to me. It was like, here's some insights to your life, to your being. Olsen came out of this harrowing accident with a broken back. His rib cage was crushed, and the seatbelt had cut through his abdomen, rupturing his insides. Both of his legs were crushed, and his left leg was eventually amputated above the knee. He had to spend 6 months in the hospital fighting for his life. And not only that, he also underwent 18 surgeries to put him back together. It is a miracle that he survived such an accident. And as he says, I had 1 foot in this world and 1 in the next. However, things would only get worse for him after the end of his hospital stay. At this point, he had become dependent on the morphine that had to be taken. He had to be taken to a rehabilitation center when he removed from it. But after all this, he says he went back to the place where he had been. He visited the accident scene to say one last goodbye to his wife and little boy. As I held my little boy, I knew I was in the presence of God, and God held me and let me see the vision of my life and what it all meant. Before the accident happened, Olsen considered himself a religious man. He would identify as a Mormon. His beliefs were mostly about a judgmental God and an afterlife in hell if he did not make the right choices. However, his life was transformed after the accident, along with his beliefs. He claims that during the accident, he was in the presence of God himself. He said, my experience of being in that place and in the presence of God, if you will, the unconditional love I felt was overwhelming. That everything was in perfect order and everything in my life was exactly what was meant to be. Even things I judged as mistakes, I felt nothing but love. Like, look how he supported your choices. Look how you're here to learn. Even after the accident, he still recognizes himself as a Mormon. However, he is also quick to say that he is no longer interested in religion. He says that it is segregating and it does not fully unify us. He says that all it does is pull us apart. But even with all that, he is deeply interested in spirituality and enjoys teaching 17 to 18-year-olds at Sunday school. Olsen says, I teach them love. I avoid the dogma and the judgment and comparison and who's right and who's wrong. This is an event that has 100% changed how he views the world. Before the accident happened, he had a habit of judging other people's lives. This was so serious that he would even judge his son when he was around 25 years old, when at one point he was on a path that his father disapproved of. After the accident, he claims that he walked through the hospital during a near-death experience and had powerful glimpses. He could only see everyone as perfect, be it the heroin addict or the grandmother. He could only see them as divine beings. I knew I was seeing them as God saw them. When I was judging my own son's path, it was almost like God was laughing at me and saying, "When are you going to finally get this? You just get to love people, stop judging people, and even love yourself and know it's all in perfect order." There are many skeptics out there, and Olsen is very aware of them all. However, he does not care if they try to deflate his experiences in an instant. However, it took him about a dozen years after the accident before he was willing to even discuss his near-death experiences in public. This is what led him to write a book about what happened. This is a man whose life was changed in an instant, and he now believes otherwise. Not only that, but this is a man who will now live in love. And with that, our video has come to an end. Before you leave, make sure you leave a like and subscribe to our channel for more intriguing stories about near-death experiences. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.